Brightestmovie.com, put it out there, get everyone talking about it. That was that message. Other questions?
Yeah.
Yes?
I live in Denver, and I thought it was funny.
Right. Denver thinks it's funny, people. Awesome. Who else has a question out there? Raise your hand. Let's see. Any other questions? I see you. Stand up and speak loudly.
I'll just speak loudly.
Okay.
You want to talk about the casting process in general, how you assemble the cast.
The casting process was long, and we were blessed with a couple of original producers, people who signed on before we had any cast members whatsoever, just based on the movie, kind of gave us our startup money to say, you know, get a casting director, become kind of a legitimate movie, and then we could start going out to actors. And let's see, we attached Amy, which was absolutely fantastic. And we got to her because she and Josh are at the same agency. So it's one of those sort of LA, thank your agent kind of things. But that's how we got to Amy. She really liked it. And she was at the screening we did in New York, and she told a funny story, which was that she said she sat down with Josh and she said, "You don't want me for this. You don't want me for this. I do big and like gaudy and overbroad, and this is not that, and you don't want me." And Josh said, "No, you know, we really do want you to do that." And she was also great in terms of being able to, you know, bring it down, play it a little straighter. And Amy is how we got Neil, because the script fit into Neil's schedule. Neil really liked the script. He didn't like flip over it. He wasn't crazy for it, but he liked the script, and he really, really wanted to work with Amy Sedaris. So Amy being attached is what got us Neil. Josh and I wrote that part, the player, for Chris McDonald. I'm not kidding. We loved him since he played Gina Davis's husband in Thelma and Louise, and Quiz Show, Requiem for a Dream. We've always thought he's absolutely hilarious. But of course, after the producers read it, they said, "Oh, well, the player, that's the big movie star part. That's the big movie star part." So they made us offer it to about 10 different huge names, all of whom said, "Yes, I like it, but I pass." And we were getting fairly close to shooting, and we got a call from Chris's agent that they had known we liked him for it. And he said, "Okay, he's got another offer, so it's sort of time you guys got to decide." And Josh and I went to the producers and said, "Okay, can we ask him now, please?" Because we wrote it for him. And they said, "Okay, okay." And Neil had signed on at that point, so that definitely helped too.
They were very happy. I remember that moment.
It was amazing when we got Chris. We got Bridget not too long before.
It was like getting on a plane.
Yeah, we were supposed to start shooting. It was very, very late in the game. And Josh, I was not at the audition. Josh was, and I remember Josh calling me right afterward. He loved Bridget for Robin so much, and he loved Bridget so much. He said, "Let's read her for Sam." Because we were working on Bonnie at that point, but we hadn't nailed her down yet, and so we read Bridget for Sam, and she killed that too. She's really wonderful. And he said in the other thing the other day, he said, "I just think she's a movie star."
I actually have a question for you guys. I don't need a stinking mic. The question is sort of a reverse one, because we're about building our fan base and building word of mouth. So my question is, how did you get here tonight? And that question, so I'm going to give you a couple of categories. How many of you heard about it from a friend? Raise your hand. Okay, great. That's maybe 40, 50%. How many people of you just randomly found it online? You had no personal connection to this? Raise your hands high. Raise your hands high. Okay. What other ways would you have found it? Can someone call me? Cinematographer, of course.
Family website. Right?
What am I thinking? What else? Yeah.
I found it from Bridget.
Yeah, you found it from Bridget. Great. So direct fan. Yeah, back there.
Michael.
Mike, right on.
Hey, Dave.
Anybody else that we're missing?
Postcard from the Nectar Room.
Seriously? That's a great idea. Awesome. But following up on that, I mean, I think we need to underscore.
The Yale Club.
Sure.
The Yale Club.
Yale Club.
Yale Club,
All
right?
right.
Highbrow.
Very nice. Fancy.
I mean, I think we do need to underscore, we think this is a very special film. You guys laughed, and I felt it like full body laughs. You know?
Cheered, dude. There was like actually like cheering.
And even like when the characters went through tough emotional times, you were with them. I mean, to me, this does, you see so much crap, honestly, that it makes it to mainstream cinema. And we have an opportunity to take a film that's really high quality, that people's hearts are all over, just busting out of. And so what we need from you is, you felt that. and to go out and sort of be, you know, the tapped, the chosen ones, or whatever you want to call yourselves, and really, you know, take heart and join us in this. You know, that's, I don't mean to, that's a heavy.
I just paid this guy. I found this guy outside.
There we go. Anyway,
Be the coolest kids on your block. You saw it first. Any other last questions? I know we don't want to keep you too long. It's a late evening. Yes, go ahead.
You did pranks on set?
Pranks on set.
I would say there wasn't pranks, but the days that we were shooting in the nectar room were like really giggly days. Naked people.
Naked.
And it was like, you know, there was like 2 categories of extras, like the naked extras and the regular extras.
That was not one.
It was pretty funny, but you know, you just still have to do your best to not blush.
Yeah, there was also something funny about the Nectar Room day, which was that all of a sudden, the first day we started shooting in the Nectar Room, there were like 20 more producers who showed up on set and were standing around behind me and Josh and John around the monitor. Do you remember that? All of a sudden, there were all these new people standing around.
And the crew was always on. They were always ready to go, standing by.
Exactly.
What was the shooting schedule?
Shooting schedule was 5 weeks. We shot it in June and the first week in July of 2009. And for those of you who are fairly sharp-eyed in the audience, you may have noticed that our shooting schedule was 4.5 weeks in Philadelphia and half of a week, about 3 days in New York City. So it's set in New York City, but all of those interiors and most of the exteriors were in Philly. And Josh again mentioned the other night that we put a lot of the exterior shots of New York City up front, right at the beginning, to sort of, you know, underscore the idea that, yeah, exactly, it's New York, really.
Well, that street that they lived on looked very, was that in Philly?
Yeah, that was Philly.
Beautiful shots. Yeah, it did. It looked a lot like New York City, yeah.
Convincingly like
Absolutely.
And we found this one avenue. Well, Philly a lot of the film takes place in prep schools, and Philly has incredible architecture. So we shot at Bryn Mawr and other beautiful interiors. But Broad Street, which is one of the main streets, really sold for Fifth Avenue. We felt
The scene where Chris is getting into his limo in the rain.
Is that
towards
really
the beginning.
there?
Yeah, that's Philly.
and the Steadicam shot with Amy,
Bad throw.
with
when
Amy
they're
and
walking down the
Bonnie
street.
and
Yeah, what can you get?
Yeah.
Neil walking. That was Broad Street. It wasn't New York. But the one where in the beginning where we see Bonnie in the distance in that crowd, that's New York. That's
our Tootsie shot. Yeah, of her walking in the
Tootsie shot, exactly.
Deliberate homage, definitely, yeah.
Yeah, but what's cool is that you really haven't seen that movie in a long time, and I remember the first time I saw it, thinking like, oh my god, that shot, I missed that from those great 80s.
There was a shot of like a park with the trees from way up. Was that maybe?
That was Rittenhouse Square in Philly. The Kate's campaign speech.
Oh no, I meant the
No.
Oh, the huge.
that's really New York.
That's from the executive producer's balcony apartment on Fifth Avenue. That opening shot where it says the best and the brightest.
Almost across from the Met. And that was just north 2 blocks. Yeah, it was such a privilege being up there for like an hour.
Yeah.
Anybody else?
Are you doing any more of these screenings across the country? Or?
Yeah, we're doing more across the country. We're printing up postcards, which we should have had for tonight, but we don't, so I'm sorry I can't hand them out to you to evangelize. But yeah, there's, if you either find us on Facebook or find our website, and you can also send it to people, the list of screenings is on the website, on a page on our website with the upcoming screenings. And then the Facebook page, if you like it, the phraseology is so strange, but you'll get sort of the updates when we add screenings and so on. Right now, as I say, we have these ones coming up in Philly. We've got, apparently Kate Mulgrew is from Dubuque, Iowa, and they have booked a week. I mean, she's going back there. It's going to be huge. I mean, they're so excited. It's like homecoming week for their big star, so she's doing that. We have San Francisco. We're working on San Francisco. Washington, D.C. on June 2nd.
Houston, right?
Houston is coming up. Yes, there's a huge Seeker fan base in Houston. So those are the Seeker folks. Houston is very excited to have us.
I know they're all down front. I can feel it. I can feel it.
Seekets.
Yeah.
So that's how we're doing it, and then as I say, it's going to be June or July, but definitely for a minimum of a week in here in LA and in New York.
but we want to treat that as a starting point.
Yeah.
That's right.
bestandbrightestmovie.com.
Or just Google it. We now have beaten, we're now above the David Halberstam book when you Google the best and the brightest. And the younger people in the audience are like, there's some book that, like, no, it's not based on that. No. But yeah, if you Google us or find it on Facebook, we're pretty easy to find.
Excellent.
All right.
Well, thank you all
Thank
so
you all
much
so
for
much.
listening.